All right, I got one more video for you guys today. This is an excerpt from a debate between Aleksandr Dugin and Bernard-Henri Lévy from 2019. And here Lévy is asking point blank what Dugin thinks about Crimea and Ukraine. And you get a pretty straightforward answer from Mr. Dugin here. And an actual laudable rebuttal from Lévy after. So I found it interesting. Guys, I'm putting all of these Dugin videos under a playlist that I have titled Geopolitics, so feel free to check it out and check out this debate as well. Talk to you guys soon.
Aggression of your country. Me, when France aggressed Algeria when I was a boy, I was 14 years old, I was in the streets. When America aggressed Vietnam, I was demonstrating. Today, what do you think of the occupation of Crimea? And what do you think of the aggression of eastern Ukraine by paramilitaries or militaries of your country?
In your book, you say you deplored that you manifested against Americans, so we can change our minds. So you are defending the American empire, the world liberal empire, and that is your option or your choice that I respect. I think that I defend Eurasian civilization not as the country. I'm not too much patriot of the Russian Federation and all our government does. I'm not automatically support all that. I have critical...
Crimea.
Yeah, I'm coming, I'm approaching. So, in my opinion, there are Ukraine is the country with two people and two civilizations. They're ethnically very, very close because it is not Ukrainian people. Ukrainian is the part of and the cradle of Russian civilization. In some way, Ukrainians are more direct parents of us. They are pure Russians. They are more pure Russians than ourselves because they live still in the cradle of our tradition and we migrated to the east. So historically, Ukraine was created by two tendencies of aggression of Russian Empire. Aggression against Turkey, because the new Russia, Novorossiya, was the part of Turkish territories in Crimea and eastern modern days Ukraine, and the other part was taken from Poland. And that wasn't liberated or created by Western Russian so-called Ukrainians. So Russia has historically, during aggression against the neighbor countries, created Ukraine. And the last piece of it was added by Stalin from Austro-Hungary, the Lvov district. So that was composed entity that appeared after the fall of the Soviet Union. And there was the chance to create Ukrainian identity. As, for example, there is Belgium identity, with two people living, considering, respecting each other. So there are two people. And if, for example, the Wallons would like to say that Flemish, they are a second type of the subhuman, because they are German, for example, or Protestants, that was exactly the same that happened to the Ukraine. The state, the newly born state that didn't exist in the history, had the chance to create its national idea, national structure, respecting both people living there, in eastern Ukraine and western Ukraine, and to find a balance. And I supported that, and I have the partisans, including in the western Ukraine, sharing this view. But finally, politically, that was only the part, western part, that in Maidan, where you were trying to inspire them to get off from so-called Russia, and that part, western part, has submitted the other. Russia intervened in order to save this part of Ukraine. And after we have committed the error, I think, we should liberate the eastern Ukraine with Crimea and to propose to recreate Ukraine, independent Ukraine, as the bridge between us and Europe, and basing on the respect of both identities. And that was the mistake, that we have taken only Crimea or only Donbass. It was a mistake. We should restore and reconstruct Ukraine. When Yanukovych was...
For the moment, the only bridge which exists, which has been created, is between Crimea and Russia. For the moment, the only building which has been done is a huge military basis in Sebastopol of Russia, directed against enemies, I suppose. And I don't see in the last years, in the speeches of Putin or others, any tendency to rebuild a binational great Ukraine. I see a pure and rabid aggression and violation of the international law. I see an attempt of rewriting and of revising history. That, by the way, if I understood you well, you are pursuing today. When you say that Ukraine is a new state, this is what I heard. How can you say that? Ukraine, that's a point of history, existed before Russia.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay.
In that sense,
okay,
in the
this is the
modern
9th century, before year 1000.
That was the common history of
the
us.
Rus of Kiev, the Prince Volodymyr, who was baptized and who is at the origin of the Christianization of modern Ukraine and modern Russia, was a prince of Kiev, not of Moscow. So Ukraine is an old country, more ancient than Russia. Okay, so every countries are new. So the best we can do, Mr. Dugin, the best we can do is to respect, as imperfect as they are, the international laws, the laws that might prevent us to fall in another catastrophe like the one who costed your people 24, 25 million brave soldiers and civilians destroyed by Hitler, and who costed Europe such a ruin. There is an architecture of security which has been built after the Cold War, in cooperation, by the way, between the West and Russia, at many steps, and we have to do our best for our children. I don't know if you have children.
Yes.
Okay.
And grandchildren.
Grandchildren. Okay. For them, we have to do our best to preserve and to save this imperfect but decisive and crucial architecture of security. And what Putin did in Crimea, what he's doing at this very minute in eastern Ukraine, what he's doing when he plays with fire and with massacre and bloodbath in Syria, goes against the interests of our children and grandchildren.
I don't think so.